Even in the Czech political spectrum, which is extremely supportive of Taiwan, the Pirate Party has been always one step bit more radical in terms of being pro-Taiwanese. We have been strongly voicing that in Czechia there should also be a Taiwanese embassy, not just the business centers as it's always called. Of course, it's still helping, but we would like an official recognition. Also, our mayor of Prague, when the pirate was a mayor, he frequented very often Taiwan, and not only, of course, brought businesses with him, so that there is even more strengthened relationship economically, but also he was supporting what I occasionally call as one Taiwan policy. Which is quite clearly meaning that China will not be the one dictating who recognizes Taiwan, and that Taiwan is a sovereign country.
Yeah, of course. There is only one China and only one Taiwan. That's absolutely they don't. 朋友们，大家好，阿曼大家好，关系收看，欢迎收看这一期节目。今天我又有个很特别的来自捷克的来宾，是 Markéta Gregorová。是欧盟议会的议员，代表捷克的 Markéta, thank you so much for agreeing to take part in that interview, and thank you so much for everything you do for Taiwan.
Thank you so much for the opportunity and for inviting me here.
You know that recently there have been protests next to the United Nations building. The Taiwanese organizations were protesting and acting and asking the United Nations to let Taiwan in. And also there have been many motions signed by, for example, the Netherlands or Australia, also supporting Taiwan's participation in international organizations. What do you think about Taiwan participating in the United Nations and the other international organizations like that?
Yeah, well, of course, it's always nice to hear that some countries are not dancing this diplomatic dance of what we can call and how we can officially recognize Taiwan, in which international organizations it can be. So kudos to Netherlands and others. Because all of this is so that China can be at peace and not to make military moves. But I find that China's historical claims are quite anachronistic, and that the Taiwan that I know must enjoy all rights and international recognitions that any other country enjoys. Taiwan is a democracy, one of the most futuristic countries, and also economically important place. And China should, I think, cooperate and ally with Taiwan instead of threatening it. But because that seems to be currently impossible, we should acknowledge Taiwan into international organizations.
Thank you so much. And when the United Nations, when they say that no one should be left behind, but in the end, they are leaving behind 23 million people of a democratic country. I personally think that that's very not fair. You know that the relationships between Taiwan and Czech Republic have been developing pretty swiftly, and there are many areas of cooperation. Could you tell me what are the key areas of cooperation between Czech Republic and Taiwan?
Oh, there's plenty. I'm sorry, I am a little bit sick. The relationship in Czechia, and also specifically my political party, because we have been very vocal about supporting Taiwan. This has been always excellent, and this will absolutely continue. I think one of the most important aspects of our friendship is our ability to, of course, confront China's economic coercion together as 27 economies. And I know you specifically asked about Czech Republic, and I will come to that. It's just an important notion, because being part of the EU still also means having a veto on certain areas or having the persuasion power. And Czech Republic has been continuously on all the forums that the EU has always supported Taiwan, which of course all the time helps when there are some countries maybe a little bit doubtful about how to support Taiwan. And one of the biggest businesses, of course, is areas is technological cooperation. I know personally many companies that are cooperating with the Taiwanese. And it's not just the chips, everybody's still repeating the chips, but Taiwan has a technological excellency in many other parts, areas, And I think that given that Czechia is democracy, but also still developing and digitizing everything, this is where we are learning so much from Taiwan.
Oh yeah, and Taiwanese machinery is being widely used like across different areas. I used to work for a very traditional manufacturing in Taiwan, and the machinery they've been using was all Taiwanese, and their counterparts in the United States and in Europe were also using Taiwanese machinery. So yeah, Taiwan is very developed in terms of technology, and that technology is not only like microchips related, but also like things like woodwork, like medical, like all kinds of things. And you just mentioned your party. Can you say something about? I know that you're from the Pirate Party, and can you say something about what is Pirate Party's stance on China's coercion and on cooperation with Taiwan?
Oh, even in the Czech political spectrum, which is extremely supportive of Taiwan, the Pirate Party has been always one step bit more radical in terms of being pro-Taiwanese. We have been strongly voicing that in Czechia there should also be a Taiwanese embassy, not just the business centers as it's always called. Of course, it's still helping, but we would like an official recognition. Also, our mayor of Prague, when the pirate was a mayor, he frequented very often Taiwan, and not only, of course, brought businesses with him, so that there is even more strengthened relationship economically, but also he was supporting what I occasionally call as one Taiwan policy. Which is quite clearly meaning that China will not be the one dictating who recognizes Taiwan, and that Taiwan is a sovereign country.
Yeah, of course. There is only one China and only one Taiwan. That's absolutely, they don't contradict each other. And how do you view the future of relationships between Taiwan and Czech Republic and Czechia?
I think that the future will be very much similar in terms of the support. Of course, I don't, this has so far been such a nice and optimistic interview, but we need to think about potential increase in China's invasion threat and defense capabilities. And we have been quite strongly voicing in the EU that if we are increasing our own defense capabilities because of the war of aggression of Russia and Ukraine, and if we consider that China has been supporting Russia's war of aggression in Ukraine, then we might also reconsider how we see China's potential threat to Taiwan and our participation in it, because everybody knows that US promised its participation in this conflict militarily. And of course, everybody knows that the EU is like economic project. But we are not anymore, to be honest, because of Russia and Ukraine. So I think there needs to be revisioned a strategy of EU's participation in such a potential conflict, which the EU honestly does not truly have. And I think that's where the Czech Republic, who has been voicing its concerns about Russia all the time and is a big supporter of Taiwan, could play a huge role in the future in drafting such a strategy.
Well, thank you so much. And that actually is that there is a link to my next question, which is if Russia's full-scale invasion in Ukraine, if Russia's war against Ukraine somehow influenced the Czech-Taiwan relations and how you perceive the whole situation in the Indo-Pacific. And I think that you've answered already. And I do agree with you that there is a need to reevaluate how do the European countries view their relationships with China. Talking about China, do you have any experience of encountering Chinese government exerting pressure or trying to interfere with Czech-Taiwan relationships?
Oh, absolutely. That is a quite common occurrence. The listeners can definitely look into Czech Republic's situation in 2016, it was, when a couple of investigative journalists uncovered Chinese influence over Czech universities, but also a couple of companies making some subtle propaganda, over how China is amazing, and of course how no pressure on Taiwan or no human rights abuse towards the Uyghurs and others are happening. This was uncovered, and I thought at that time that that's when it was a breaking point for Czech Republic, and they just decided to unilaterally, not be supportive of China. But unfortunately, since then, I have seen in some politicians that they really want to do the business with China and the business as usual, regardless of what others are saying. So it has been up and down with the Czech government based on who is currently in the Czech government and based on how much the businesses are capable of lobbying them. And I mean, including the Chinese lobbyists. Also, of course, Chinese embassies are very famous for harassing national staff, including in Prague, but also in Brussels. I have been, for instance, I have invited Badiou Cao, which is a Chinese activist and anti-regime artist.
An artist, yeah.
And I have invited him to the European Parliament, and nothing happened to us. But shortly after that, I think he wanted to go to Austria, and the Austrian or the Chinese embassy in Austria, they threatened the gallery in Austria that they will this will have repercussions if he actually is publishing there. And actually, it helped that he was in the European Parliament because we called them and said, hey, don't listen to them. It's just empty threats, as everything with China most of the time. And you can absolutely publish what Badiou Cao has to offer. And so they did. So I was trying to help like this, but they are exerting pressure in all various areas, from universities to art.
Yeah, and it's across all Europe, and also I have seen similar things going on in the United Kingdom with Chinese embassy staff actually being very trying to harass activists and not let some pro-independence of Taiwan or some pro-Tibetan.
I did not even mention, I forgot to mention the police stations, right? That is a ridiculous thing for me. How can we allow a foreign police station in our countries? But some countries like Hungary love it, I guess. But it is horrendous.
Do you think that recent elections in Czech Republic will influence somehow Taiwan-Czech relationships?
Well, recently it was regional. We will have parliamentary elections in 1 year. So, of course, very soon for political spectrum. And there has been talks that very probably, or most probably, the previous governmental party might win. And they have been, how to say it, they have been quite prone to get coerced by the Chinese government and by the Chinese money. So we are all a little bit afraid. Of course, for Czechia in itself, it might be losing a bit of our own democracy if this party and this person, this oligarch, wins. So everybody's sort of exerting their power to stop that. But yes, this might change. As I said, it's up and down. But we still have, European Parliament and the representatives here. We will still have Senate, which is very supportive of Taiwan, and we still have individual politicians. So it will not be over, even if we lose temporarily.
Thank you so much. And you've been very supportive of Taiwan. Do you have anything to say to the Taiwanese viewers?
I think Taiwan has managed becoming one of the top 3 actually countries in science, economy, and innovation on an island that has virtually no resources and is 70% mountains. Let's be honest. And I think it's impressive beyond comparison. And I am comparing it to my country, so I'm even ashamed. What really the hardworking and kind people of Taiwan achieved in very short span of time. So, by the way, you even beat South Korea and Japan in these economic stats. So I think you should be proud of yourself and never give up, because apparently you are doing something right, and we can all learn from you.
Thank you so much. So stay strong, Czech Republic, and stay strong, Taiwan. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.